My Calvin morning report. Bangkok business news.
Where are you, Gerald?
Stay there, darling. I'm just bringing your tea.
Morning, Gov.
Is it?
I phoned the bank. Garwood isn't in today.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Right, thanks very much.
He's usually out of the house 8:30 on the dot.
What about last night?
Well, they were out till gone 12, but they noticed that all his lights were still on.
Yeah, they still are. So he's not at work, he's not answering the phone, car's still in the drive, he hasn't taken the paper in. So, looks like I'm going to have to shove you and your brand new suit through the window.
Thank you.
Yeah. Waste not, want not. Don't drip blood over the man's nice clean floor, there's a good boy.
Gov?
In here.
Looks like he's been turned over.
Yes. Him and me both.
Well, he was shot at a distance of a few feet. Bullets lodged in the skull somewhere. I'll fish it out for you when I do the autopsy. He'd have fallen back, hit his head on this table. Not that he'd have felt it. He was dead before he hit the floor.
Some people have all the luck. Rough time?
Speculation again, but I'd say between 8 and 10 last night. I'll be more precise after the post-mortem. Quite a busy period for you, Inspector.
Yes, so far this week I'm averaging a body a day. How are you feeling?
Better now, Gov. Sorry.
That's all right. To your credit, you've still got some decent revulsion left in you. A couple of years from now, you'll be flicking your butts in the socket like the rest of us. Well, what do you reckon? Eh? Someone carrying a gun. This is heavy stuff, son.
Well, Garwood's the assistant bank manager. And chances are he could be holding the keys to the vaults.
Good thought, Clive.
Thanks, Gov.
Get onto the bank.
Right.
Oh, and while you're on, ask them if they had a robbery last night. And if they had, why the hell didn't they bother to tell us?
You sure you'll be alright? I mean, you sure you don't want me to come? Be alright, promise you. If he didn't take her, where is she?
Well, the long and short of it is, this one gets it the day after we dig up his long-lost friend. Now, this could be a coincidence, but from where I'm leaning, it looks like we've got ourselves two sides of the infernal triangle.
What's your next step then?
Oh, same as always, go out and ask a lot of silly questions and hope they might get a few not so silly answers.
What about the girl?
Oh, Tracy, yes, we mustn't forget little Tracy, must we? Well, so far, she's been seen in London, Cornwall and Dover. She's been seen on a lorry heading up the M1, in a cafe in Leeds with 2 Pakistanis and a Chinaman, outside a cinema in Bromley with a bloke in a crash helmet, everywhere except here in Denton. I'll extend the search area tomorrow, but if we don't get a break soon, it's not looking good.
Yes, well, I've got to go to this damn silly collection.
Yes, sir, I don't want to spoil your appetite by you sitting there worrying. Just dwell on the thought. In a couple of weeks' time, Detective Inspector Allen will be back, which means the girl will be miraculously found alive and well. The skeleton will walk into the nick, bringing with it the missing £40,000 and brandishing a signed confession to the murder of Garwood. Rain will stop, poverty will vanish, and peace will break out all over the world. In the meantime, yours truly will attempt to stick his finger up the dike as per. Have a nice lunch, sir.
It's not much of a place for a retired bank manager.
Don't mention Garwood until I'm ready, right?
Right. I've been expecting you ever since I read about it in the paper this morning. Poor Felton. Of course, everyone is convinced that he's absconded with the money. Even myself, I'm afraid.
How well do you remember the day of the robbery, Mr. Snell?
I remember it very clearly.
It could help if you would tell us about it, sir.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Just after I returned home from the bank, I was telephoned by Stephen Harrington, the manager of our Exley branch. He wanted to know if we could help him out with a large cash transfer the following day.
The 40,000. Apart from yourself and the manager at
Exley.
who else knew about the transfer?
Only Felton and Garwood, the 2 clerks who would be making the delivery.
How many sets of keys were there to the security box?
2. I had 1 set, and Harrington at Exley the other. I personally checked the money into the box, secured the chain to Felton's wrist, told them to wait in my office until 12:30, and then left for my appointment.
Appointment? The funeral? Mrs. Kingsley?
One of our largest private accounts, and a dear personal friend. There was no way I could miss paying my last respects. I returned from the funeral a little after 2 o'clock. Telephoned Harrington, who told me that the money had not arrived. I immediately informed the police, and the car and young Garwood were found in a lane just off the main Denton Road. The police asked me to check that I still had the keys to the security box. I opened the safe in my office where I'd put them, and they were not there.
Did Felton have a key to your safe, sir?
Yes, he did. Well, young Garwood can confirm all this, of course. Presumably you will be speaking to him.
I thought Mr. Garwood had no memory of that day.
Oh, only as I understand it from the time he was struck on the head. He can most certainly corroborate events prior to that.
I doubt it, sir. Last night someone put a bullet through his brain, just like they did poor Mr. Felton.
Gerald! Where
It's all right, my darling. I'm coming.
Where did you go? You went away. You know I don't like you going away.
Oh, well, you were asleep, my darling. Come on now.
Why are those men here?
They've come to see how you are, my darling. You must go now. She gets very nervous. It isn't her fault, you understand. Now, why don't we read your book?
Way to end up, eh, Gov? A room. Like a flipping museum. All those photographs. I suppose it must have been their son. Pride and joy by the look of it.
What?
Pride and joy. The son.
Yes. You're dead, aren't you, Tracy, love?
There's always hope.
Yeah, there's always hope. So either Felton was working on his own and he was turned over afterwards, or he was working with an accomplice and they fell out.
So, the two had the motive and the opportunity.
Well, apart from Harrington over at Exeter, who died 4 years ago, 3 people knew that money was leaving the bank. Now Felton and Garwood are dead, so that leaves old man Powell. If he did end up with the 40,000, judging by the way he lives, he hasn't done much with it. Oh, right. Not unless he needed it for something else. Frost.
Ah,
Yes.
how are you finding things here? Fine things.
Yeah.
Any problems? No, sir.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good.
That was the Jolly Ballistic boys. Have we got those fags I gave you?
No,
Don't lie to me, give me one. They say that the bullet that killed Garwood last night was fired from the same gun that killed Felton 30 years ago. They suggest it might be significant.
You mean they were both killed by the same person?
No, by the same gun. What did you give me this for? Hey? Johnny, what have we got?
No, I'll do that, sir.